I'm a straight man, but I have a gay little body.
Next time, give it loud everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're having next time. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
I've been playing not weird shit, but different things. I decided over the weekend. I think last time we talked, it's been 3 weeks since we talked. We missed last week for different reasons, but
Well, we didn't miss, right? We still came out with an episode, but we
didn't. I ended up not doing anything. Just left it. Yeah, I was gonna do like an old one, and shit's been wild over here, so I just didn't get to it.
Shit's been wild in Waynetown.
Yeah, but I think last time we were talking, I was playing Dead Space, which I'm still loving. But one of my favorite things to do sometimes is, like, if I wake up early on a Saturday, just pop on my PlayStation and play. And I can't do that with the kid around, not with Dead Space. So
Does he get up before you still, or do you get up before him now?
Depends. Usually he's up before me, but if I wake up and nobody's up, and I'm like, I'm not tired, I'm getting up to play some games.
Damn.
But I can't do that because Dead Space is very gory and scary. So, what I did was I plugged in my Super Nintendo Mini, my SNES Mini, and this weekend I was playing some Final Fantasy 3, and I restarted Link to the Past, which I've already played. But
those are Super Nintendo games.
Yep.
The Final Fantasy 3. I know I went back that far. Look at that.
Yeah, it goes back to Nintendo. The first Final Fantasy I think was on Nintendo.
Yep. Those goddamn Japanese, man.
Yeah.
They're crazy.
Yeah, I've been enjoying playing those. It's good stuff.
Every day I walk by my PlayStation, I look at it and I cry. And I walk away.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Gets hard to play sometimes.
Yeah, it's just like I work. I've been working. I've been coming home. And I've been taking care of my kids until they go to bed. And then I've been doing stand-up or going directly to sleep. It's all I got.
Yeah.
Can't. Because then the kids, they'll get up at between, 5 and 6.
Oh, I don't miss the 5.
Ooh.
I don't get that. The earliest he'll get up is like 6:30, which isn't really that bad. That's like a work day.
It's a work day. It's not bad. Yeah, no, I don't know what sleeping in is anymore. Haven't had one of those in a long time.
Yeah.
Life sucks. That's the point.
You have woods behind your house. Just say, hey, I was looking for the porn. I passed out.
Yep. I passed out with a shotgun in my hand. Yeah, they... well, it's a dark world we live in now. All right, so what's going on in Comedy Wayne world?
So, yeah. I'm slowing down a little bit. I get like a show a week for the next... for the rest of the month. I'm not doing a ton. But what I've done, and what was awesome, was I did a show. It was a fundraiser for a softball with Steve York and Katrobi, and Jacques Lambert was there as well. And
What a crew of old white men.
yeah, no shit. Varying hairstyles as well, which is crazy. 2 bald guys, 2 with long, luscious hairs.
And you all look like who would be the people who go to softball games without kids. You guys all look like those.
I gotta tell you, man, that was the most comfortable, the most fun, the most... You name the emotion, positive emotion, and that's what it was for me that night. It was great.
Come?
I did. Many times.
Positive emotion.
Yeah. I did 16 minutes. It was incredible. Like, everything hit, with the exception of one little line that I was trying out in the middle of one of my jokes.
Yeah, there's always something.
It had three little punches in it, or two little punches in it. One of them hit, one of them didn't. But other than that, everything hit, and the things that hit, like, really, really hit. It was awesome. It was a great feeling. That was in the middle of Litchfield, New Hampshire, which is nothing there. I thought I was going to be murdered.
Yeah, I still don't know where that is.
Yeah, it's just outside of Nashua. It's not too far away. But yeah, I mean that was incredible. I mean, it was an old gymnasium. Jacques sent me a picture of it. If I think of it, and if I'm not lazy, I'll put a picture of that place
He will be lazy and he will not do
here.
it.
I'm not going to do it. But when he sent it to me, my immediate text was, "Oh, is Schindler there?" Because
Hey, hey, whoa. Schindler had a really nice spot.
this was dude. It looked like a munitions depot, but it was a wicked old gymnasium, like wooden floors. It didn't have the rubber floors. It had wooden floors. The
Ooh,
the basketball hoops were bolted to the wall.
that's right.
There was no mechanism on the ceiling to come down. They were bolted to the wall. That's how
Did they
old
come
this
off the
place
wall
was.
enough? Like, if you want to throw down a massive dunk, but you overshoot the rim, are you going right into concrete, or are
Yeah,
you
it's
able?
pretty close.
It's pretty
It's
close.
close.
Damn.
Like with today's athletes, they're going through that concrete wall.
Totally. I'd have to be so careful when I jump 8 feet in the air and dunk.
But yeah, I mean that was such an incredible night. Um, everybody did really well. But just my personal experience, just one of my favorite times stepping foot on stage, not just this year, but since I've started. It was an awesome time. Everybody was there to laugh. Um, I did my mom's throat cancer joke, and to quote the great Chael Sonnen, you could hear a rat piss on cotton. People were just so engaged with everybody's setups, not just mine, but just everybody's setups. Everybody was engaged. They were waiting for it. They were like, "We're here for you." So it was cool. Um, but then, and I
You
haven't
keep
told you
jacking
much
off
about
the air.
this,
It's pretty
but
funny.
what's that?
You keep jacking off the air. It's pretty funny. You're like, I got it.
The week after that, I did another benefit or fundraiser,
Double bennies.
double bennies. I'm not going to name anybody who was there, where it was, or anything like that.
Why not?
I was kind of asked to keep who asked me to do the show on the down low because they don't
Oh.
normally do it, so they don't want the attention in that regard. So I'm going to keep it extremely
you
vague
go.
as to who was there
Get it?
and why I was there. So it was a
Secret
fundraiser, and like whenever I do a fundraiser or benefit, my question is, first I say, of course I will do that, but my question is, what's it for? Because I have the mom's throat cancer joke, I have the down for love joke. I don't want them to be like, hey, Timmy over here is fighting for his life with this type of cancer. I'm like, throat cancer, am I right? That would be very uncomfortable. I don't want to.
Timmy gives BJs.
So
Well, real quick, before you get into it, since we're going to mask what it is, can I make up something? Can I say that it was the reason why they don't want to talk about it is because it's a fundraiser to get Jeffrey Epstein out of jail because it's still
no,
alive.
I'll tell you what the fundraiser was for. I'm just going to tell you where it was or who was there.
Fine.
Um,
It's not fun. It was for 1945 German.
You were so close. You were so close. Oh my god. So, oh my god. I didn't even tell you half of that. I mean, I told you that.
I can tell by who they hired for that show how white all you guys were. I mean, we're not going to say who was there, and we're not going to
Yeah.
say who was. Actually, I was talking about the first show. I don't even remember who's at the second show, so I take that back. I don't even know.
I will say the headliner had it made me laugh harder. One of the hardest times I think I've ever laughed at a show that I was performing on, and I'll tell you the joke later. I don't want to tell you because it's going to give it away if you've ever seen them.
Wayne is
or
the
her.
tease master.
tease
Tease
master.
master.
But anyway, so what the show was, so I asked what it was for. It was not for any sort of disease or anything like that. It was for Gold Star families, people who have lost people in war.
Is that what Gold Star Family means?
Yeah. To my understanding, yes. So my initial thought was, awesome. Nobody should get offended, or very low likelihood of anybody getting offended by my throat cancer joke or my down for love joke or anything like that. So we get there, having a good time, talking to everybody. I will say Jacques Lambert was there as well. So I get to hang out with Jacques again. And that might come up a little later if I remember to tell that part of the story. But so we're sitting there, and the guy running the event goes up to get the everything started, and he does his little speech, and he goes, "We have this family here. They lost this person in World War II. This family over here lost this person in Afghanistan. This family over here lost this her brother in Vietnam." And I'm sitting there like, "Yeah, all right." You're not supposed to clap, but we did like a little applause or whatever.
Yeah.
So I get on stage. Now, I will say, I hate wireless mics. I had a big problem with this mic. It was
Do you
probably,
hate it before this, or did you hate it because of this?
I hated it prior. Every time I've used a wireless mic, and actually the week before was a wireless mic, but had zero issues. But every other time, it's always like it cuts out, it does this or that, and that's exactly what happened. I go up, I start with my opener. The first sentence and a half of my opener didn't get picked up. It cut out. So that was happening for the first like half of my set. I was like trying to figure out where I needed to be, moving around, trying to figure out where I need to be so the sound is coming out and not cutting out because it's peaking. That was my inexperience, but that got me. You know what I mean? I wasn't performing my bits. I was trying to say them while figure this out at the same time. So that was a big problem. I was still getting laughs, still getting it done. But here's what the big problem was. And I posted this on my Facebook. So if anybody is friends with me on Facebook or goes to my Facebook, you'll see this. It's also on my Instagram. But I posted it from the week before. I do this joke about my wife walking in on me shaving. And the twist of it is I was shaving my genitals. And in the joke...
That's the twist?
Well, part of the twist, yeah. That's the beginning. It's like, my wife walked in on me shaving. You know how embarrassing it is to have somebody walking on you when you're holding your gut up with one hand, like that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's the setup, really, but kind of like trying to get a joke there. But so in that joke, my wife's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And my response to her is, "I have to take care of it. It's disgusting. He's like a little Viet Cong down there."
Oh,
and I didn't realize what I was saying until it was coming out, and then where I was, and it all clicked as I said it, but I couldn't back out because I was already there. He's like a little Viet Cong down there, hanging out in the bushes with his little helmet on, waiting for an unsuspecting victim to pop out and stab him, or an unsuspecting victim to walk by so we could pop out and stab him. And I was like, God, fuck. It was the absolute worst. And the worst part about it was, I got laughs, Anthony. I got laughs on that. But the lady who lost her brother in Vietnam was there, like right to my left. And I felt absolutely horrendous.
Should have.
That also added to my level of stress and my, oh, fuck. So then I'm like, okay, that didn't go horrible, as horrible as I thought it was going to go. But, I think I'm gonna get him back because I get the throat cancer joke, and that's stuff like very rarely. That fails like 1 out of 99 times. It failed. It fucking failed, and it failed because the second I brought up I lost my mother to throat cancer, there was a guy on my right hand side. Now, so I got this lady over here probably crying because I reminded her that her brother got stabbed in Vietnam.
She should cry.
I felt horrible.
Sad thing to do to somebody.
It was so bad. But I have this guy over here. The second I say I lost my mom to throat cancer, he goes, "Oh my God, really?" Like wicked loud. And I was just like, "Oh no, like this is a mistake." So I just kind of muscle through it, and I do it. And I left out, like I have that new part that I was telling you about that I do that usually gets like a secondary laugh. I left the whole thing out. I did get a couple laughs on it. Then I get to the other part of that, the callback to it. I got a couple laughs on that. But then I get into the Down for Love joke. And this guy over here just like constantly, from the time I mentioned throat cancer, he's just little comments that probably only I can hear, but he was getting into my head, and I was flubbing lines. I was like, and it's a fundraiser, it's essentially like a benefit, and I can't stop and be like, dude, what the fuck's your problem? Like, if you don't like it, whatever. You can't handle it really. You have to do it funny, and I wasn't in the position to do that. But anyways, I get to my last. I cut out a couple of the jokes because I got 0 laughs on that joke. So I cut it down as fast as I could just to get off stage and get the other people back up. But during my last example of the dating shows, mid-sentence, this guy goes, "Are you almost done?" Like, wicked loud, to the point where Jacques was in the back on the opposite side, and he goes, "I heard that." He's like, "I heard that." I was mid-sentence. I was like, "This week on Diabetic Almost Dating." It was horrible. It was fucking horrible. It was the worst. So I rushed through that. I brought the host up, and I just went and sat. You know.
Here's a question: did a part of you think that I need to do another joke after this so I don't end on a bomb, or
Nope.
were you
Nope.
like, no, get the hell out of there?
Nope. So the reason I wanted to tell these two stories back to back is because they were a week apart. Mm-hmm. Two vastly different experiences. I learned, I think, a little bit from. I learned from my experience on New Year's Eve when we talked to Mike and we had that conversation after, and Mike was like, if it's not going well, just don't take risks, whatever. So when I realized I was getting light laughs up until the throat cancer part, which I still got light laughs, but I started getting thrown off by this guy's commentary, right? So I was cutting parts out of the jokes to try to speed it up, still do my time. And I would have gotten, I think I would have gotten off stage sooner, but the headliner was telling a story while we were waiting where he was like, yeah, this guy was supposed to do 20, he only did 10. And he started walking off the stage and said, nope, get back up there and finish. So I'm like, well, I'm not doing that. So there was a little bit of that as well.
How much time did you do?
I did 14 minutes.
You were supposed to do 15?
I was supposed to be 15.
Yeah,
so I did 14. Mm-hmm. So I mean, it's not horrible. I mean, that's within the range. But I did cut stuff out. I would have hit probably 15 and a half to 16 if I didn't cut shit out. But I did cut stuff out to try to just shorten that time, fill it a little bit, tried my best to get it back. It just wasn't happening. Did I answer your question? I don't remember what it was.
No, you answered it. You did.
Yeah. So the reason, I guess my whole point of that was I learned it was a big learning experience. That was a huge learning experience.
You learned that you're bad at comedy?
Yeah. Well, I learned that one night I thought I was the second coming, and the other.
It's how you do it. I've brought this up before. How you are.
Well, no, we all do it. I mean, you've said it too off camera. You've said it too, but like you have those nights where you just drive home. You're like, I'm the fucking best.
Oh yeah, but nights. never to anyone other than myself. That's the problem that you have. Is you go on group chats and you're like, everybody, pull over your car. Stop what you're doing. I am God.
I've never said that, but I do that in group chats with my friends. I mean, you guys are. I love you guys. So,
you're not the only one.
I want to share my
Not the only one. I'm not saying you are.
Definitely. I know. I'm just saying.
People do that.
I'm just saying.
I look down on all of you that do that, but you're not the only one.
You do that to me though.
What do you mean?
Individually.
What have I said to you past? That was a pretty good set.
You did it. You did it at fucking Headliners.
Well, you talk. I just said
I cracked the code. I figured it out.
I didn't say that.
I figured it out. You said
did
I
not say that.
The code. You
did not say that. Absolutely did not say that.
I figured it out.
No, I did not say that.
When I do this, instead of not doing that, it transforms. You fucking went all full blown like Nicholas.
I'll tell you exactly what I said. See, you're crazy. And this was practical stand-up talk, which we all can do. Well, that's fine. And I said I got a way to cheat in Juraf and Act of God to get the groans out of it. I mean, it's to do the joke bad person before it, to primer those jokes. And I was like, it really worked because they were ready for the dark jokes. It was really cool that worked. That's not bragging about anything. I was just saying that.
About it.
No, you're saying when you get off stage, you're like, I am the greatest. This is the greatest thing of all time. I don't say anything like that.
That's hyperbole. Have I ever said that to you? Don't even say I did because I've never have. Don't even say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, but you say
Your
things that a
Italian nose is
person
getting real
who
bigger. Don't even say it.
it already is. I got a huge pimple over here.
I
It's
saw
fucking, I'm fucking
That's what I
dying.
was getting at. That's
Yeah,
from lying.
even bigger. It's from being a liar. No, yeah, no. You say things that somebody who would say that would say. I'm not saying that you say that you're the best comic of all time. I'm saying that a guy who would say he's the best comic of all time would say all the things you say also.
So I'm going to say this as well. I have high highs and low lows.
That's the thing. You do the opposite too, which is fair.
have-
You meet yourself in the middle.
You have low highs and high lows.
Yeah.
You're
the same
very
all the time.
by that, just like the way you talk, you're monotone in your emotion. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
My wife thinks
you're
that
just
too.
a full. Was that your wife says that?
Yeah.
So, anyways, getting back to the point of what I was trying to say was, I learned a lot about myself from both sets. One of them was when it's going good, like I can lay into it pretty well. I can lay into it really well. Like I was, we talk about like letting things breathe and like not stepping on laughs. And when it's going really well, I'm really good at that. When it's going bad, I am not. I'm not. But the one thing, so this was the thing that got me, was the host pulled me aside after and said, "You with the mic, the fucking mic. You should have, like." He's like, "You were up here. You got to bring it down." I was like, I was trying to figure it out. He goes, "Watch the guy before you because he was eating it." And like couldn't figure it out. So use that. He wasn't saying it in a bad way, but like watch what he was doing and try to use that to your advantage. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It was. I guess there's a good reason to watch people before you in case there are issues that pop
I
up like
guess,
that.
but didn't you say that people after you also had the mic cut out?
Some of them did, yeah. I mean, well, yeah, the headliner did a couple times.
Okay. So
the
what that takes away from what the host
feature
is saying, don't you think?
Was that?
That takes away from what the host was saying, don't you think? If he was yelling at you for the mic cut out?
One wasn't yelling at me. It was like almost like a disappointed father. But no, the feature I don't think had the mic cut out, but had mentioned like, "Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me?" Because same thing, you know what I mean. But also, you could tell, watched what the troubles we were having, and applied the proper whatever, and that comes with experience because the feature and the headliner both very tenured individuals. And I'm not saying I'm not saying anything bad, but it was a learning experience for me overall. And the biggest one being, I was so focused on the throat cancer joke and the down for love and that offensiveness, I did not look at the entire set and go, what could potentially cause an issue there? You know what I mean?
It's tough,
So do
yeah,
that.
because you have a like I figured out how to take about 12 to 14 minutes of my stuff and make it. I'm not saying good. I'm saying it can't offend anybody. So like it's just clean. Nobody's gonna get mad stuff. How many minutes do you think that you have that you will have that ability where you're like, this can't offend anybody? This is just, it's not saying it's your best jokes, but they're just, if you see a bunch of 90-year-olds, you have a set to break out. I've really thought about that a lot. I've been saying it on every podcast how much I think about that now because it's very important to judge by the crowd and go like, they're not going to take Down for Love tonight, for instance. Got to not do that one.
Yeah.
Do you have that ability, or do you think you don't have enough material
I'd
if
say
you took
maybe
out
10.
stuff that's offensive?
Maybe 10. I mean, and I'm being, I don't know, because probably more than that. I'd say 10 to 15. If I pulled from like my B side, you know what I mean. But it's I can make it clean, but it's not like how do you say?
Well, Down for Love isn't unoffensive because isn't offensive because it's not clean. It's offensive because it's about a bunch of ailments. So I'm saying like that would be the stuff you'd want to take out.
Well, that's the thing. It's like okay, so I've done Down for Love, and I have the Parkinson's side in there.
Mm-hmm.
Always gets a laugh. Never offends anybody until the one time the person's in the room that fucking just got Parkinson's, which happened to be like 2 weeks, a month ago. The guy comes
Yeah,
up,
it's
he's
tough
like,
to do an ailments joke in front of 90-year-olds though, because most of them have ailments.
yeah, so
Like,
that
you're
was
gonna
something
get
that the
diabetes,
host
you're
said to
gonna
me. He's
get
like,
that.
I
Yeah.
probably should have recommended you don't do that. And I was like, dude, not for nothing. I do that joke in front of old people all the time, and it always, I was saying always as in the majority gets
Except chemo connection.
laughter. Right, but I found a way around that.
I can't wait to hear that.
Well, it's being in the moment and calling attention to it. So sometimes it does well, right? And when it doesn't, if I get the parts, I call it out and go, I'm fucking doing it, guys. I don't give a shit. I worked hard on this, whatever. And that usually gets a laugh like, oh, okay, this kid doesn't care. And then at the end, when I make up the fake people, right? And if I get groans on that,
Mm-hmm.
I've been calling people going, man, you guys fucking laughed at my mother who was real and died of cancer. But these two fake people that were in love that I made up, you guys have feelings for now. You guys are the kind of fucked up I like. And that usually gets a good laugh. So just calling it out and putting it back on them for, you're not laughing at the fake shit, but you laughed at my mom.
It's true, and I'm not saying
good.
this in particular, but I feel like what you're saying here is, in a vacuum, you're doing a joke that usually doesn't work because you figured out a save for when it doesn't work.
You say it usually doesn't work, but I get laughs at that.
You just said it was my point.
No, I'm saying if it doesn't work, I have that save for it.
What percentage do you think the chemo connect? Because I only go by the shows that I've been at, but the last 20 times I've taken a note of it not working because 20 times ago I was like, you should stop doing the chemo connect. Actually, when you first wrote it, I said that was a tough one to get through. I said I loved it. Remember that. And I still do. World. But I told you shouldn't do it because you piss people off every time I've ever seen you do it. Because it's right, because you don't notice that you do because it's your last joke. So, but the whole energy comes right when that thing goes, and then you close it up with the last one. You're like, bye, and then you get off. But I'm saying, like, why make that the last impression that everybody has of you? And if it, because I could see if you're like, yeah, but when it hits, motherfucker, when that line hits, never, even like if it did, it's not going to be as good as the rest of the joke. So my point is, it's like a risk not at all worth taking, even if you go, I have
I
a
do it
save
for me.
that. Yeah, but don't.
Yeah, no,
Stop doing.
Listen.
But then the second goes bad, and you're like, "What the fuck? Why'd that happen?" Or if someone doesn't book
I
you,
know that. I know it. But what I'm saying to you is the times that it doesn't go well, when I do that combo there, I get laughs. And it seems like an intentional, it almost seems like an intentional bomb joke almost.
yeah,
for those
that's what I mean.
laughs. But it's not, because the people that like it, like, really like it. You know what I mean?
No,
And it definitely does better. So here's an interesting thing. It definitely does better in darker rooms, which we've talked about that before. But to answer your question, I'd say probably, I'll say 60%, 6 out of 10 times that joke will not get like a rolling belly laugh, but I will get laughter on that joke on both parts.
okay,
So
I don't believe you.
you don't have to. You don't have to, Fred.
Yeah, you just don't like Fred. Fred still gets laughs most of the time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, yeah, same thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Is Fred a joke that has ever got a groan in the history of the world, or made people upset that I said it?
Me. It makes me upset every time you say it because it sucks.
Fred is a great joke. I'm gonna burn it because if I explain the joke, I don't know how you could say it's a bad joke. It's saying that my dad, every time he smokes weed, would say my whole life he's going to talk to Fred, and then when I asked him who Fred was, he said he's the only reason why you're still alive. That's a great joke. What's wrong with that?
It's all right.
What? Explain it. If you say, hey, Anthony, name a joke that I don't like of yours, and I say it, I'll tell you exactly why I don't like it.
I don't like. I think it's. I don't know how to explain it. It's like basically. I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't. It doesn't. It's not like that. It's more like a chuckle joke to me. Like, oh, okay, your dad needs to be inebriated to enjoy you. Okay, it's not. It's not the clever. You have thinky jokes, but it's not like the clever, like boom jokes that I know you for. I guess that's why I don't like it, because you do like Jew rap, you do like the anal equity, you have California sober, you have those jokes that are like boom, 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 and then you're like, well, my dad says that I'm alive because he smokes weed. Mm-hmm. Am I right? Like that kind of shit. And that's what I don't like it because it's coming from you. If I saw that at an open mic from some guy that maybe his first few times, I'd probably be like, all right, I see what you did there. I expect more from you, and I want more from you. See, I somehow turn that into a nice thing, but I want more from you.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't you have a joke about speakeasies and how you drink tequila?
No, I haven't done that in months.
So you don't like that joke? You think it's a bad joke?
I wouldn't say it's a bad joke.
But you just said my joke was bad. My joke's way better than that one.
No, it's not better than that. It's not that it's a bad joke. I just think it's not in the same vein as the other jokes that you're telling.
What's 45 seconds at the end of Immigrant Parents?
What's that?
I said it's a 45-second joke at the end of Immigrant Parents. That leads into
it's great. Jokes. It's great for what it does, but you're asking me.
I didn't ask you.
All right, we're talking about it.
You said Fred. You just said it randomly, too. You're like, Fred, because I said that chemo connection was bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Good joke.
Listen,
Stupid thing to do.
I'm not saying it's a bad joke. I just think it's not up to par with everything else in your set. You can go up there for 25 minutes. Go up there for 24 and 15. Leave it out. It's not up to par with the rest of your shit. That's my opinion.
Only because I cut. That's true. I understand. I haven't done it the last couple times, but I do think it's one of the better jokes, so I do like doing it.
And you know what? You know better than anybody because you're there every time it's told. So,
trust me, I am the opposite of you. I am so quick if I don't get something to work to not do it anymore. Because I get it. After a couple times of getting it, you'll say things like, I do this for me, not for them.
Yeah, I do. I love that joke. So I was talking to Katrobas about that joke. And he's like, yeah, you don't have to end with that joke. And I was like, because he's like, the diabetic dating part gets the biggest laugh. So a few weeks go by, and I just cut it out. I'm like, yeah, diabetic dating does, and so I just stopped doing that. Then I talked to him again, and I was like, I told you. Yep.
It's so annoying. Real quick, can we talk about this before you finish this thought? Because this annoys me about our friendship. I'm calling about everything out in this friendship today. There are so many things. I don't know if you even admit this. I hope you will, because it's 100% true. So many things that I tell you about your set, and you go, I don't agree with you. And then you'll go do like a class with Mike or something, and he'll tell you that, and you'll change it and be like, yeah, of course. I mean, now I get it. And I'm like, well, I told you that months before. And you just don't listen to me because it's coming from me. I don't know.
It's not because it's coming from you. I don't take a single I don't know how to say it, but I don't take like one bit of info and be like, okay, that's what I have to do. But if multiple people are telling me that, then I'll be like, all right, there's got to be something to that. But
no, anything Mike tells you, even if you don't hear it before, you're usually like, or from a class, you're usually like, that's good information that I need to try. And every time I give you a pointer, you say, I don't agree with that. It's for me, or something like that. And every time you give me a pointer, I go, I'll think about that. Because I'm a good, honest person.
Maybe. I've taken a lot of your pointers, though.
Nope. Not without first saying, I don't agree with you. That's not true. You take my pointers eventually. Let me give you one, because we did on the podcast. I can go through this. So, first one, wearing a hat. And I go, hey, the hat's covering your face. And you go, I like my hat.
I did like
but I like my hat. But you were saying that in the sense of, I'm not going to take it off. I'm not doing that. I like my hat. And then I am not going to lie and tell you I remember who told you that they didn't like your wearing the hat thing. I can't remember who. One other person did. And then you stopped wearing hats every time after that. I was like, God
So listen,
damn it.
listen. That I remember this. I don't remember who said that, and I think I brought it up on the podcast. And you were like, "Yeah, you need to stop wearing a hat," because I didn't stop. Somebody else said it. I just mentioned it to you, and you're like, "Yeah, you have to stop." And I said, "I will stop when you stop wearing flannels on stage." So we made the deal.
That's what you say, yeah, because you usually lash out at me when you do something wrong, of course. So that's what you did, yeah. Same thing with the Fred thing.
You're so lash outable.
Like you're literally doing the same playbook again.
But yeah, no. So I mean, yeah. Listen, I agreed with you on the hat. I just didn't. It was
No, you
like
didn't.
no, I did. I wasn't going to tell you.
You said I
but
like my hat. I don't
did
care. I
like
like
my
my
hat.
hat. That's what you said, though.
I did like.
I
my hat.
don't disagree that you don't feel that way. I'm telling you what you said out of your mouth,
I know, but I did like my hat.
which wasn't I agree with you. I shouldn't wear a hat. It was no, I like my hat.
I did. I just didn't want to tell you I agree with you.
Exactly. Well, you didn't.
Yeah.
So you just said I agreed with you, but you have to tell the person if you agree with them. You fucking piece of shit. You can't just go. I agree with them in my head, but I'll never let them know.
I disagree.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You
No,
petty asshole.
I did like my hat, and I think part of it was like a security blanket for me.
Yeah, I know. I said that. But sorry, go ahead.
Yep. Anyway, so I was talking to Mike, and a few weeks after that, I took it out, and I was like, "This is great." It's like it's working really well. And I said, "Mike, I missed that joke. I really like it." And he goes, "Then just fucking put it before." He goes, "It's funny. Put it before." And that's when I started doing that. That's why,
And then that's when I watched it 10 times in a row fail, and I was like, why are you still doing that? I know you like it, but there's Mark Norman said a bunch of times. Did you just do the Emo Phillips thing?
Well, boy, is my face red.
I was watching Mark Norman, and he said the biggest thing that drives him nuts about newer comedians is he's in New York, so he sees the same comedians a lot, and he'll watch a guy bomb a joke like 15 times in a row, and he's like, you gotta give up the joke! You have to give up the joke! He's like, if you go do it, and almost every time it doesn't work, you have to give up the joke. Sometimes you gotta give it up.
Here's the thing, and I agree with him 100%. Because we've watched a lot of open mic comics go up and do the same exact joke, the same exact way, every single week. And have the same exact response, if not worse, every week because everybody's heard it.
And you're like, what?
But if you're making changes, you're working it out. So that's where my changes come in, like my calling out the different parts of the reactions.
It's true.
So I want to make it work, so I'm trying to make the changes so it does work.
You are desperate to make it work.
Yes, I
when
love
it's
the
a
joke.
joke about cancer, which you got to be careful about sometimes. Sometimes you got to be careful about it.
Why?
Well,
Why?
You don't.
You
don't.
You have to make it.
You're right.
Do you have to be careful about a joke about heart disease?
Yeah.
Why?
I keep saying yeah, but I mean no. I agree with you in the sense of,
if I joke about jaundice, are you offended?
do I look jaundiced?
No. I'm just saying in general. Like,
I was like, Jesus.
and I'm just saying, if I go like, oh, you guys get jaundice, what are you, yellow? Are you going to be offended?
It's really tough because I agree with you in practical form. I 100% agree with you in the sense of you should just do your act the way that you want to do your act. But as and that's how I felt for most of the time doing stand up. But I've realized that that's wrong. It's just wrong because this is the problem, Wayne. They're not going there to see you. If they were going there to see you, if they were your fans, it is different. Then you go, I am working out the jokes for people who are coming to see these kind of jokes. When you're hired to do a thing, you should really get there and scope out who you're dealing with before you choose a set that you're going to do to them. And then determine whether or not the likelihood of them getting super bummed out that you're saying those words is going to happen. And I'm only saying should if you want this to go well. If you're going, I will bomb in front of old ladies every time I'm in front of them because they're just not my crowd, and I'm working through this shit my way. And when I get to the younger crowds, they'll like it. I mean, that's a little bit of what I definitely did for most of the time, and I still feel like I don't change too much when I do it the old ladies. If I bomb, it doesn't go well. I don't beat myself up. I feel that way, where like they're just not my crowd. What I'm saying is, I think that you've admitted in the last couple episodes you want to do this too, is I just think that you're too, this is what I'm doing. This is my set. No matter, in your car, you know that this is your set. And I don't know if you should know what your set is until you get there, especially when you have risky stuff like you have.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you on that. But on the flip side,
there's no flip side.
There is a flip side.
You're realizing in real time that there's no flip side.
No, there is a flip side. And I'll tell you what the flip side is, and I've said it to you before.
Give it to me.
You have people that, like, you have bookers that fucking love you. And you can go on shows, you can fuck around, and you don't miss your shot. I don't have that. I have a few bookers that like me, but I have to do well in front of them. So I have a curated, this is what does well 80 to 90% of the time. And this is what I'm going to do. And if I have to cut stuff out because, like, okay, the cancer joke didn't go good, I'm going to not say that. This didn't go good, I'm going to not say that. So you have the ability to go up there and fuck around and develop that skill where you can go, ooh, all right, I'm going to fuck around and take this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take that. I don't have that skill. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying to work on, because I don't think that you should be afraid of doing that for this reason. If you think, let me give you realistic numbers just because they're always going to be lower than what we think it is. Because when I say a joke works 80% of the time, it probably works 75% of the time to 70% of the time. We're a little bit always over where we think jokes go. Yeah. So let's say that's the truth. Let's say it's 70% that this set works to the way that you want it to work, and 30% it doesn't. I think if you were more malleable when you got there to completely take out jokes and put in different jokes and change your set for where it was, I think you'd be at 95% of the time you would be fine. I still think the same percentage of time you'd kill. So I don't know if you'd increase your killing odds by changing the set like this. Like maybe you strike battle. I think what I think you would do by doing that, being more in the moment and changing your jokes in real time, I think you'd stave off bombs. Because you just wouldn't go, like, well, I'm still doing this joke. And then you get into, like, I'm really eating it now territory. So I think that if you did this, that wouldn't happen anymore. I'm not saying that it would still, you would kill because you do that. And I don't kill because I do that. I'm just more like, I did a couple sets where I had a couple real bad bombs where I knew it was coming, the joke was coming. Like I was like, they're not gonna like this, and I still did it, and I still bombed. And I was like, stop doing that. Like you gotta put markers in your set where it kind of picks where they're gonna take, and that way right. You know. Like throat cancer is a great. I know it's right at the end, so that's where I would move it around a little bit and try. It's to actually more than earlier. Now. Perfect. Like that, yeah, I think it's a great marker joke.
I've added stuff after it. It's more like at the like. If I'm doing a 15-minute set, it's like the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
11-minute mark, yeah.
So I
still
it's funny you mentioned Fred, you cunt. But right after Fred, my set usually, you piece of shit. I have that's usually which is 5 to 6 minutes in a 15-minute set, or any time really. If I'm doing 20-minute sets, still 5 to 6 minutes in. But that's kind of my feeler out part where you do a darker joke or two, pick the one that you want. And then gauge your reaction. In 15 minutes, you got plenty of time to come back. But if at the 10-minute mark you eat shit on the throat cancer joke and they're not going to have it, even if you do the right thing, which is go, all right, I got to land much cleaner now, so I'm not going to do Down for Love. I'm going to do a completely different ending. You might not have enough time to bring them back if they really hated it. Where at 5 to 6 minutes, you tried that joke in there, you got plenty of time to bring them back with the other stuff. But I think that's a goal that you should try is, put it in the middle. If it doesn't work, know you're going in a different direction and actually execute it. Do a different thing than you planned. And you might flub a couple lines because you're not practicing it as much or something like that. Mm-hmm. But eventually you won't. But I see what you mean with the bookers thing. I just don't know, like, all the bookers that we've been talking about. What you are as good with as I am.
No,
So you could take risks.
that's not true.
I think it's true.
Well, we can talk after, but it's not true.
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
You have how many dates in April? From one or two
8?
particular people.
No. 8 dates. Only one of them for one particular person that you were thinking of, and the rest of them are all different. I'm probably lying, but I think so.
But even still, that all stems from that one person.
It's true. There's well, no, still not true. A bunch of them are from different things, but still, do get recommended a lot, all that kind of stuff, and I get all that. But I don't know. I still take risks when I should in front of bookers. Like I have a booker that this is ready for my sad thing. I don't know if I told you this. Did I tell you the Stephen Wright thing that a booker told me?
No.
Oh, it broke my heart. So I've been doing some bigger shows and like the performing arts centers and theaters and shit like that. And I'm obviously opening them. I'm cold because I'm not at the point of middling big shows like that yet. But anyways, I've been doing those, and they go good. Like I'm happy with them, but I'm not killing or anything in them because I'm opening cold crowd. Like besides headliners that time that I told you I was God there or whatever that you remember. When I did like those piece of shit. That was cold open 23-minute, and they were awesome the whole time. That was really cool. But that usually doesn't happen. Usually when the cold crowd is there, I'm happy just to get the energy up by the end for the next guy. It's good. My jokes have hit. I didn't bomb. Maybe one joke can bomb if you're opening because maybe they don't take the risky stuff, the marker joke, whatever the hell. So. I've been doing that, and I had one booker who was like pointed at a guy on stage who was like dancing around with the microphone stand. It was the middle, and he was like meow, 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 and he was just like going crazy. And the guy's like, "See, you gotta be like that energy. Like that's the type of energy you need to open with." He's like, "You're like," he's like, "You're like." This is the problem. You're like Stephen Wright, but he's brilliant. Hurts so bad.
I love those like I love those comments and stuff like that. Like I've had like people come to shows and like, yeah, you did good, but that guy in the middle was fucking incredible. I hate those comments so much.
Yeah. I just looked at the ground like, yeah, he's a genius. That's true. You're right. But I'm not fucking as monotone as Stephen Wright, by the way. This is an insane thing to say. I'm way more animated, but maybe.
I say more animated.
Huh?
I'd say more animated.
You wouldn't say way more, but you say more.
I wouldn't say.
What do you mean?
More.
Come on, you get out of here. I do lots of stuff.
Sometimes, but you have a few spots in your set where you do that, but there are other times where you're very level. It's not a bad thing.
I like it. Yeah, it's true because I really want the jokes to stand out on their own. They're thinkers. I like them. They're well written, good jokes. They're not based off of performance. They're based off of the quality of them. I do appreciate that about myself, but also I've got to be more animated. Yeah, I was. I was talking to another booker about it because I'm like, I want to make sure that I'm opening shows right. So I opened a show for a different booker. With that in like telling him that guy broke my heart and what am I doing wrong? And then I went out and I had a great set and he's like, just do it like that. That was fine.
Yeah.
But I just think that the guy who said it's not a comedian and he admitted that he's like, I don't really know any like, he's like, I'm just a fan. Like I like watching it. He's like, but I can see what he's saying. Like to have a guy in the beginning who's like blasts out is good.
Yeah,
it probably does make sense, and I agree with them. And I'm like, maybe I'm just not good in that spot. That could be that too. I think that might be that. Like Carolyn Plummer, I was talking to her about that, and she is a great host, and she knows she's a great host, but she doesn't get a lot of host opportunities because of she's a low energy comedian as well. She even had a joke about it. So even though she's a great host, bookers will be like, I can't have you do any more energy in there because I could see it as that. You know, when you're a musician, you want the first band or the first song in your set to be the loudest and the most captivating because you need to bring people in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to have that. And I get it. I'm not the most attention grab. I come up and like, I'm high. This is going to be slow. Let's go, everybody. And when every time I'm not to a cold crowd and they're warmed up, that goes, people like that. They can hear it. But yeah, maybe the first guy I need to. Will Noonan said, he's like, you just got to be a hackier version of yourself when you're first. That's really all you got to do. He's like, which sucks. He's like, but you got to be you, but slightly hackier. I can't.
That's interesting. You didn't say that to me yet.
I didn't tell you that one?
No,
yeah, I get it. It took me.
It makes sense.
Yeah. It took me a minute to get what he means, but it does make sense when you think about it. Like, you're just kind of like, hey, like me, like in the beginning, which is just a hacky way to be. Where Obi-Wan Kenobi, when he was trying to get me to do more time on stage, he would say, you need to relax more on stage. He's like, you calm down, make your 15 minutes, 20 minutes by being more yourself. And I took that, and I started doing that more, and it's been great. But the thing was, he's middling me a lot when he was saying that. So every time he would tell me to do that, he would put me in the middle. And I kind of abandoned that, huge energy opening and started doing how I would now middle when I would then be put in the open, especially when I would do this bigger shows, because I would consider it not cold because the guy would go out and introduce me. And it would say a joke or something like that in between, like one or something. Yeah. So I'm like, it's not like I'm walking out and going, everybody clap. Like I'm getting introduced, so it's not completely cold. But it kind of is, because they're not used to hearing jokes at that point, and they don't know how to do it. So you do got to be more gregarious when you go after them, I think. But I don't know. I think really in the end, the moral of this episode should be we don't know what the hell we're talking about still.
That is true. But we didn't talk about your show with Mike, Steve, and Carolyn off camera.
Yeah, just a couple days ago.
Yeah, you said a little bit, like a couple lines, but how did that go?
That went great. Yeah, so I went to tour in Portsmouth in it's like a golf simulation indoor place, and they have a room in the back. It's a 50-seater, really tight. Reminds me a lot of Gibbs. Great little room. So that one, it was pretty funny. The owner of the place did 5 minutes too. He's been taking Mike's class. He had a great set. He said he had a joke about how his ass was comically big, and it was just funny because he's like, I'm being a ass comically big. Very funny line. And he did. It was cool. Did good in front of his people there. It must be nice to do that in front of your employees and it go well. So he did good. Mike did more hosting. He was supposed to be a triple headliner, but he opened the show, did 7 minutes, and then he did time after that guy for about 15 minutes, and then Carolyn. So that was kind of his way. They did 25 each. Steve Bjork had a pretty. So speaking of taking him out of the moment, it really fucked him up, but it was awesome. So. Some lady says I'm a lawyer in the middle of his set, just randomly. She's like, I'm a lawyer, and he
went prompt.
On. It was something like he had some kind of joke that had something to do with paperwork, and she went, I'm a lawyer. It really didn't help the joke, nothing like that. So you yourself are like, ugh, that sucks. That wouldn't do anything for me. Steve went after her a little bit and crushed. This is why people that are as good as him don't like doing crowd work, is that he crushed so hard with the crowd work that it threw off the jokes. Not in a bad way, he still crushed, but I'm saying in the sense of I could tell that he was damn it, I did too much crowd work because now I got to get back into material. And he was also, I could see him cutting things on stage because he needed to do 25 minutes. He did 8 minutes with that lady. So he's like looking at his watch and he's like, I'm all right, what do I got to. And he was like honest with it. Like that really fucked me up. I got to figure this out. But it was cool to see him, like the peak of how good the crowd work was amazing. But it also it was the first time that I've seen amazing crowd work. And I went, there's a danger in that. Where before, you're almost a little jealous when you see someone do that. You're like, oh, man, your jokes weren't working, and you went right into crowd work and you crushed. Like, I don't got that. That's fucking sick that you have that in your arsenal. But there is a line to when, like, if you're going to jump off the boat and just do crowd work the rest of your set, sure. But if you're going to go and do this for a couple minutes and go back in, huge danger in that. Because you can tell they wanted more of that, more talking.
Did Steve do the Cumberland Farms joke? I'll ask you after. I don't want to give it away, but he has a joke about Cumberland Farms, and he's
I think
been
so.
doing it the last couple times I've seen him. He's done it, and it's incredible. So good.
No, yeah, he did his boat joke at the end, which I fucking love that joke.
What is it?
The pamphlet about the boat thing.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, such a good joke.
So that's an interesting thing. So the show that I did in Litchfield, Steve was the host, and we talk about this all the time, where people like you 20% less, and people still loved Steve, but you could tell people. I think this is what it is. People are settling in.
Yeah.
That is it. And they're settling in.
You're never going to have the best set you ever had cold crowd.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Except at Headliners that one time.
Yeah. But it was interesting. Like he did well. He went up, he did well. And I just like people. I feel like people were just like, I don't know. It's like everything we talked about, but seeing it from the outside into a guy that we look up to, a guy that always crushes. Still, once again, did incredibly well, but not the same as I saw when he headlines and other benefits that I've done or other shows that I've worked with him on. Or this, it just really. Cemented the idea that we have that people like hosts 20% less.
Yeah, and you know what the thing is, though? For hosting, at least, I've gotten to the point where it doesn't bother me anymore. Where I'm like, but I'm telling you, if there's no host and I'm opening still and I'm doing a longer set and I get that lower energy where I'm like, that's about 20% less than I like, it still hurts. I don't know why I can't get it not to hurt.
Yeah.
Because you know what it is. You're like, it just is what it is. You're first, when you're the first one.
You know what it is? We all have a bad day at the office. Right? And when you're doing as many shows as like a Steve or a Carolyn or Mike or whoever, it's like, oh, just a bad day at the office. But for us, it's like, this is my time. This is it.
It's true.
It sucks.
Yeah, it does. And I just can't get it. Because, again, then bookers will come up to you and you need to have more energy. You're like Stephen Wright, but stupid. So good. But yeah, they'll say stuff like that, and you're like, well, so the nice part about that, to round off that story, was after the guy, he didn't, he said that part, but when he was saying to do more energy, the headliner came up to him and told him that wouldn't work. What he's talking about. He's like, yeah. It's like, dude, I'm gonna go up and do well. He's like, if I went up first, I would not do well. He's like, it's just what happens when you're the first person that they have to hear jokes from.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep that in mind afterward. You still kind of feel like, well, I want to do well. I like when I'm doing the best, or not the best, but doing the best version of myself on there.
It is funny how that is a thing. That is a real thing. It's like people have this mental thing where the higher in the lineup you go, the funnier you're going to be. So the more leniency they give you in what you say.
You know who I really respect in this thought process? Because this is the thing. I think most people who we're doing shows with, especially when you start off, we're all doing showcases and shit like that, where that's not, I mean, it sucks to go bullet and we all make fun of the bullet guy, but you don't really get it because you're usually not there. You're all over the place in the lineup most of the time. Is when you really start consistently being a host opener, where you're like, this is what I am now. I'm a host opener. It's kind of my shtick. Is where you're like, I've done 3 shows this week, all of them opening, all of them with 20-year comedians going after me, and that beats down on you after a little while.
Sure does.
Because you're just like, man, I'm the fucking obviously worst person. I did a show, Will Noonan, Tookie Kavanaugh, Kathy Gilmore at Sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
And, Kathy's, I think, 9 years in, came from Key West doing theaters because they only had like a theater out there, and she was doing crazy big shows. Tookie Kavanaugh speaks for herself. I don't know, got to be over 10 years at this point. Animal.
Go back and listen to our episode with her. It was incredible.
Yeah,
family doesn't know she does it.
Insane.
It's wild. I think she's like 10 years in, and her parents have no fucking idea. It's wild.
And she's a beast. She's
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Will Noonan, 18 years in on that show. So that's the people who I'm doing it with. And then me. And I'm like, it just... Seinfeld said it. You are your age in comedy. If you're 2 years in, you're a 2-year-old baby. If you're 10 years in, you're a 10-year-old child. If you're 18 years in, you're just becoming a man. And it's so true. So you go there, and I just feel like a fucking baby. Like I
remember you texting me that.
Yeah, because I mean, I did.
I felt so. I forget the wording, but you're basically like, I felt so like insignificant.
Because I did fine, again, opening, so I did fine for opening, as I normally do, but I just watched them afterwards, and I went, they are better. They're just... It's been a while, because you do the showcases, and you do all these shows, and you get in rotation, and like Mike, if I work with him 1,000 times, I'm like, I know he's better, so I don't think about it anymore. Like, it's just a fact. But sometimes to get reminded that, like, you are fucking pretty new at this still, so you got to realize that, dude. There's levels to the game. It beats you down a bit because, like you said, you get in your own head that you build up that you're doing good, and you should think that way because you should really keep to the idea of how long you've been doing it, how far you are, blah blah blah. No, I only compare myself to the people immediately around me on that night. I remember saying to Will Noonan, I'm like, man, I miss doing shows with my friends because they all suck like I do. And I was like, doing shows with you guys is a real eye-opener of how bad I am.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's good to do that. You got to be in the rooms. But it's sad, because you get a couple years in, you're like, I think I know what I'm doing. I think I got this. And then you're like, no, still don't.
Yeah.
I still got to do Giraffe. Yeah, I'm doing Lenny Clarke this month, and that's the set list I'm agonizing over, because I'm trying to plan that one a little bit more. And I want to giraffe it up. Like, I want to do that kind of set, like a Boston set that I would do. But I also don't want to shit my pants in front of 500 to 700 people.
I think you're going to be fine with that kind of material.
You'd think. But that's the problem when you plan, because you don't really know. Maybe for him, they'll take it. Maybe for me, they're like, fuck you, Sonny. I don't know. Maybe not. But I'm gonna. So this is the thing. I'm coming to, this is the point of this one where I'm like, I don't care about impressing anyone to do this one. I'm more like, I don't know how many times I'm going to be able to be in front of this amount of people. I got to try. Like, I don't want to walk off and be like, man, I wish I did this joke or that joke. I got to try to. I say that, and then I bomb Giraffe, and I'm like, fuck!
I mean,
700-person bomb is going to be tough.
Lenny's a comic's comic. Like, he is the comic. You know what I mean? If anybody's going to find you funny, it's going to be Lenny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I want to do it in front of him, too, because even if they hate it, I'm sure I'll hear him in the background laughing if it's my darker jokes. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to try an open mic joke that I've been working on. I sent to you. This will be the last thing I say before we get off. It's, I'm a straight man, but I have a gay little body.
It was the opening of the episode.
Yep. Straight man, gay little body. And the point I'm trying to make of the joke is like, because like look at Darwin when he looked at the finches, and he's like, their beaks are designed for the environment that they live in. That's for sure. So, like, if God built me for purpose, he built me for either being a Formula One driver or getting blasted by dudes. That's the only. That's the only things that this place was for.
Have you ever seen the videos of like I don't know if they're pelicans or what the hell they are, but they shove their beaks up the asses of the elephants and just grab the shit, take it out and eat it? Have you seen those videos?
Yeah, exactly. Try saying that bird's not gay. All right, quest for laughs.
Are you almost done?